Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kavibhireeditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaadatam Bhuvigrinanti Ye Bhurida Janaha. Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. We are discussing that one line in the first meeting of M with Sri Ramakrishna, in which he said, Shandha Gayatri te loy hai, Gayatri abar Omkare loy hai. Sandhya merges into Gayatri, and again Gayatri merges into Om. Sandhya was elaborately discussed. Sandhya is the twilight rituals, practices done by a spiritual aspirant who wants elevated spiritual life. At the moment when the sun dawns, night breaks into day, and in the evening at dusk, when the day merges into night. These are called Sandhya, special moments, and we discuss how the macrocosmic events in nature have a deep impact, influence on the microcosmic body and the mind of a spiritual aspirant. So the Sandhya is a practice for complete purification. So you pray to the waters for purification. Apa punantu prithivim prithivi bhuta punatumam, etc. The mantra in the Mahanarayana Upanishad for waters. And then you pray to the sun, Suryascha Mamanyascha Manyupatayascha Manyukritebhyaha, and so on. When all the aparadhas and all the various omissions and commissions, the mistakes, the sins we have committed during the night, consciously or unconsciously, by the mind, by the body, by the speech, all of them are offered to the sun and they get burnt in the effulgence, the power, the light and the heat of the sun. Then you begin the day as a fresh, clean, pure individual. During the day, once again, you accumulate so many kinds of rajas, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, the shad ripus of the enemies, under the influence of which you also tend to accumulate so many different varieties of aparadhas or sins. Once again in the evening you pray to the Agni, Agnischa Mamanyuscha Manyupatayascha Manyukritebhya, and so on. All the sins and omissions and commissions and the aparadhas and the mistakes that I have committed during the day, all of them are being offered to this fire. The fire extinguishes, burns away all the sins. And then once again, as a fresh human being, you go to sleep. In this way, morning and evening, continuously purifying yourself, your body, your mind, your speech, your senses, your inner consciousness, constantly purifying all of them, day after day, month after month, year after year. Finally, you get an elevated status of body and mind, and you are now ready to receive the Gayatri Devi, the goddess of Gayatri, who is Saraswati, the pure Sattvic goddess, who can come and occupy your heart only when it is absolutely pure. In this pure heart, the Gayatri Devi comes and occupies her place. So a Gayatri Avahana, calling the Gayatri, Ayat Varada Devi Aksharam Brahma Sammitam Gayatri Im Chandasam Matedam Brahma Jushasvame or Jushasvanaha. May means me, but Naha means all of us. Let Gayatri Devi come. May the Varada, boon conferring divine Gayatri, come to us in order to instruct us about the imperishable Brahman who is determined by the Vedanta. May Gayatri, the mother of meters, favor us the supreme goal, which is Brahman just mentioned. So we are invoking the Gayatri. Then there is a supplementary prayer which is added in some versions. Same idea. O Gayatri Devi, you are now coming. I have purified myself as much as possible. But just before you come, once again let me purify. Just like we sanitize everything just before the Devi comes, when the Lord comes, when somebody who is very important, when he comes to your place, just before his arrival, once again you clean the whole thing up. Yadanhat kurute papam tadanhat pratimuchyate yadratriyat kurute papam tadratriyat pratimuchyate sarvavarne mahadevi sandhya vidye saraswati. He Sarvavarne, He Mahadevi, He Sandhya Vidye, He Saraswati. These are the various names by which Gayatri is addressed. Sarvavarne, source of all letters. Varna is a letter. Varna is also a color. Source of all colors, source of all letters. And you are an embodiment of all letters. If all the letters are like pearls and made into a necklace, and you wear this multi-worded, multi-colored necklace. Sarvavarne, Mahadevi, you are a great Devi, great deity. Sandhya Vidye, you are the object of meditation at Sandhya, at twilight. During Sandhya, you are the Vidya, you are the knowledge which I have to acquire during Sandhya. Sandhya Vidye, Saraswati, O Saraswati, you are Gayatri, you are Mahadevi, you are Sarvavarne, you are Saraswati. Yad anhat kurute papam. Anha means day. During the day, whatever papa, whatever sin, whatever omissions and commissions and mistakes that I have committed, yad anhat kurute papam, tad anhat pratimuchyate. That same day, that very day, let me be completely freed and absolved of those sins. That means don't accumulate sins. Every day clear them. It is just like cleaning one's house, cleaning one's Thakurghar or shrine. Even keeping your computer inbox, the email inbox, most of us keep the inbox very cluttered. So many mails keep coming and we don't clean them. Those we do not want, you clean them, you put them into trash and keep the cleaning the trash. Now and then it may go to your spam. Keep cleaning the whole thing repeatedly so that at any point of time you are ready to receive anything new. New spiritual impulse. Yad anhat kurute papam tad anhat pratimuchyate. Whatever sins have accumulated during the day, let them be completely, I may be absolved of all of them during that very day. Yad ratriyat kurute papam tad ratriyat pratimuchyate. Whatever in the night I have committed, the papa, the sin, omissions and commissions, Tadratriya, that very night pratimuchyate, let me be liberated. Once again, just on the eve of the arrival of the Gayatri Devi in my heart, the sadhaka, the spiritual aspirant, with a deep feeling, praise to Gayatri, O Mother, Mahadevi, Sarvavarne, Sandhya-vidye, please clean my heart so that you can have your place. I am cleaning it every day, twice a day, in the morning and evening, during the Pratah Sandhya and the Sayam Sandhya. But even then, just when you are about to arrive in my heart, please clean my heart absolutely pure and clean. Remove all my sins, day after day, night after night, and just the last touches of purity I am giving you. Now come and have your holy seat in the sacred shrine of my heart. Feel this. What a wonderful prayer. The sadhaka is praying, O Gayatri Devi, O Sandhya Vidye, O Sarvavarne, O Saraswati, please come and have your seat in my heart. And just before you arrive, once again let me chant the purification prayer. Yadra yadannaat kurute papam tadanhaat pratimuchyate. Yadratriyat kurute papam tadratriyat pratimuchyate. Sarvavarne Mahadevi Sandhya Vidye Saraswati. Then comes the famous Avahana mantra. The Avahana mantra means you are invoking the Gayatri Devi and inviting the Gayatri Devi to come and take her seat in your heart. There is a big note given here by Swami Vimalanandaji, who has translated the Mahanarayana Upanishad into simple English, written a beautiful, simple Sanskrit commentary on each of the mantras based on Shayana Bhashya. I am just reading out this note and we will discuss it. Along with the previous stanza, this section is also employed for invoking Gayatri in the heart of the worshipper. The idea is you are invoking Gayatri. O Gayatri Devi, come and have a seat in my heart. Just like when somebody comes to your house, you say, yes, please come and take your seat here. So you're invoking the Gayatri, and then just as we call somebody as please come here the Gayatri is coming into my heart. So you say, Avahayami, Avahayami, Avahayami. I'm calling the Gayatri, this Devi, Sarvavarne, Mahadevi, Sandhya-vidye, Saraswati, to come and occupy my heart. This section is used for the invocation of the Gayatri mantra. Ayatu Varada Devi. Worship implies a relation between the worshipper and the object of worship. If you have to do worship to somebody, you do puja, you show respect to somebody, that person should be related to you. In this case, we are related to the Devi as a child to the mother, as a spiritual aspirant sadhaka to the spiritual deity, the Devi, the spiritual entity. And also a felt need and suitable attitude of the worshipper which he naturally and genuinely adopts. It's called bhava. You adopt an attitude towards the deity. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel of Ramakrishna, in the Kathamrita, ekta bhav avalamban karte hai. You should take a definite attitude towards the deity. Pancha bhava, 5 kinds of attitudes are prescribed in the Vaishnava Shastras. You can think of God as a child, Vatsalya bhava, which was the bhava of Yashoda, Devaki, who were the Rama's and Krishna's mothers respectively, they thought of God as a child. You can think of him as a Sakha, as a friend, as Arjuna did. You can think of God as Prabhu, a master, and think of oneself as the Dasa, as a servant, Dasya Bhava, like Hanuman. Or you can have a Madhura Bhava. You think of the Lord as the beloved and the lover, and you as the beloved. The Jiva is the Prakriti, and the Ishvara is the Purusha. The gopis had this kind of Madhura Bhava. Madhura Bhava can come to you only when your mind has become completely purest of the pure and completely devoid of even a trace of lust. It is not body, it is not mind, it is not even thought, it is a spirit worshipping the spirit. A Jivatma communing with the Paramatma. That is the meaning of the Gopika's divine sport with Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna, the Paramatman, is having a divine sport, play, krida, rasa krida, with the Jivatmas. All of us are the Jivatmas, Prakritis, infinite number of Prakritis, millions and billions of them, and the Divine Lord, as the Paramatman, is playing with the Jivatma. That's why in the Rasa Purnima day, if you think of the beloved Lord and then commune with Him as a spark of a light in the infinite ocean of light, or as a fish swimming in the infinite ocean of Satchidananda, or as a bird flying in the infinite ocean of the sky of Satchidananda, these are various practices, jnana practices, which Totapuri Maharaj, Sri Ramakrishna's Advaita Guru, taught to his very favorite dear disciple, Sri Ramakrishna. Madhura Bhava is actually Advaita Sadhana, where the union of the Jivatman and the Paramatman is the goal. In the Dasya Bhava, you want to be separate from Him, eternally connected to Him, you want to surrender to Him, you want to serve Him. In Dasya Bhava, there is a separation. Vatsalya Bhava, also there is a separation. And the devotee feels himself as the mother of the child, the Lord, like Gopala's mother. Gopala Irma fell towards Ramakrishna. The Mahatmya, the glory of the Lord is forgotten. You think of the Lord as a helpless child. In Sakhya Bhava there is a difference, but there is equality. You are much closer. Madhura Bhava, you are the closest. He is your beloved. You embrace Him. You completely want to merge yourself into Him, not physically, not carnally, but through the Spirit. And therefore, Madhura Bhava is the highest Bhava and the most dangerous to be practiced by people still having the idea of the body and possess of lust. So let us be very careful in talking about Madhura Bhava. Swami Vivekananda said, the love of the gopis is the highest, and they had no feeling, awareness of their body. They were completely melting away in the purest love with the beloved, the lover, Sri Krishna. And then there's the Shanta Bhava practiced by the rishis, which is you are completely calm. You are immersed in the ocean of calmness and peace. Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante Sa Atma Sa Vigneyaha. The Mandukya Upanishad. Shantam Shivam Advaitam. This is Atman, and the Shanta Atma, you had completely merged in that. Yached Vang Manasi Pragyah Tadyached Jnana Atmani Jnanamatmani Mahatini Yached Tadyached Shantatmani Kathopanishad. The process of merging yourself gradually, step by step, is mentioned here. For a sadhaka who is oriented toward jnana, vak representing the indriyas, panchakarmendriyas and panchajnanendriyas, vak, pani, pada, paya, upastha, and chakshukarna, nasika, atvak, jikhva, and all of them should be merged into the manas. And the manas should be merged into Vijnanamaya, the buddhi, and the buddhi or the Vijnanamaya should be merged in the cosmic Vijnanamaya, which is Hiranyagarbha or the Mahat, and that should be merged in the Shanta Atma, which is the Supreme Brahman. Prashantoyam Atma. The Upanishad says this Atman is the nature of Prashanta. Prashanta manasam henam yoginam sukhamuttamam upaiti shantarajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. The Bhagavad-Gita says, a person whose mind is Prashanta, he gets supreme sukha, sukhamuttamam. Then what happens to him? Shanta rajasam. His rajas, his dirt, his impurities are completely washed away. Then he becomes Brahma Bhuta, he becomes one with Brahman. In that there is complete calmness, tranquility, purity, and peace. The peace that passeth understanding, not the ordinary kind of peace that you feel when there is no noise, when there is no calmness. The kind of peace that we have when there is a lockdown, total lockdown. That is absence of noise and not peace. The real peace is when you feel when there is so much of noise outside, but there is a zone of silence within. We can actually feel it, create the zone of silence. This is a great practice for us to do during this period of the corona pandemic and the lockdown. Create a zone of silence, practice it. In your heart, create a zone, a huge zone, a space in which there can be no noise, there can be no flutter, there can be no movement, and there can be no desire. The desires disturb the mind. So in the deep recesses within, in the depths of your being and the depths of your heart, you feel so much of peace and calmness and tranquility. This is Shanta Bhava. Sri Ramakrishna has added one more Bhava, which is called Apathyabama. Apathyabama meaning that you think of yourself as the child of the Lord. The Lord is my father, the Lord is my mother, and I am his or her child. So you are feeling as a child and God is the mother or the father, the Apathyabama. So he says here, a suitable attitude should be cultivated by the worshipper, which he naturally and genuinely adopts. Depends on your temperament. If you have a powerful, loving nature, think of God as your beloved and meditate upon Him. Surrender to Him completely. Think of Him as a savior or a sevak. You are a dasa and He is the person who is the Prabhu. So any attitude you take. But the best attitude is to feel that He is my everything. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. O Lord, you are my mother, you are my father, you are my sakha, you are my friend, you are my beloved, you are my wealth, you are my property, you are my everything, O Lord of Lords, Deva Deva. This is one attitude. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam surad prabhava pralayasthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam. Bhagavad-Gita. The Lord says, Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi. I am the Gati, the final goal. I am the Bharta who protects you, who feeds you, protects you. Dharana and Poshana. I nourish you and then I hold you. I protect you, I support you. Prabhu, I am the Lord of Lords. I am your master. Sakshi, I am the witness of all your thoughts. Nivasa, I am the abode in which you live. Sharanam, I am your refuge. Suhrid, I am your most beloved and trusted friend. I am the Suhrid, I never leave you. I always am your trusted friend. Katir Bharta Prabhu Sakshi Divasa Sharanam Surat Prabhava Pralaya Sthanam Nidhanam Bijam Avyayam. This is a favorite shloka of Swami Shivanandaji Mahapurush Maharaj, who was a direct monastic disciple of Sri Ramakrishna and the second Sanghadyaksha, the president of the order. He always used to say. And there is another beautiful song which expresses this sentiment. Natha tumi sarvasva amar pranatha sararsar. You are the Natha, you are the Supreme Lord, you are sarvasva, you are my all in all, you are my prana, you are my very soul, and you are the adhara in which I live, you are the support. So all these various bhavas are necessary. So he says, take up any bhava which comes naturally to you, and you can take up different bhavas at different times. Sometimes when the Advaitic Jnana mood comes to you, then you think of him as a vast infinite in which you remain as a small part. Some of our gurus have taught this. Swami Yatishwaranandaji, we have heard, used to teach this kind of meditation to his disciples. Think of the vast infinite ocean of light and think of yourself as a small ball of light, a spark of light, and you move in this infinite ocean of light and merging in it and re-emerging from there, and you know yourself to be the part of that infinite Satchidananda Swarupa, the infinite consciousness. This is one kind of bhava which is based upon jnana. Either jnana or bhakti, whatever be the bhava, have a definite, suitable attitude which you can naturally and genuinely adopt. Don't be hypocritical. Bhaver ghore churi jana na hoy. Don't be hypocritical. Don't cheat yourself. Be sincere, be genuine, take that bhava. We connect to the Lord with some bhava, and at the same time we want to cling to the world and cling to so many people as if they are our own. Nobody is our own except the Supreme Lord. This we will know as we proceed in the path of sadhana, genuinely, sincerely. The apparent limitations and imperfections, as well as the consciousness of sin and impurity incidental to the inherited nature, as described in the previous section, engender in the mind of the worshipper the need for invoking the grace of the Supreme in the shape of Gayatri to retrieve his own true divine nature, which has been temporarily eclipsed by the life of the world. This we have repeatedly said. Constantly living in the world and mixing with people and indulging in all kinds of activities, sattva, rajas and tamas, and kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, surrounded by these enemies, struggling into this ocean of samsara, we acquire so many kinds of sinful tendencies, so many desires. Ramprasad says, when you swim in this ocean, when you want to go deep into the ocean of Satchidananda, there are so many dangers and obstacles, so many crocodiles, kumbhir, he says. Alligators are moving around just to catch and kill you and gobble you. কামাদি ছয় কুম্ভী কুমির আছে, আহার লোভে সদাই চলে। তুমি বিবেক হলদি গায়ে মেখে যাও, ছোবে না তার গন্ধ পেলে। কালী বলে ডুবে দাও, ডুব দে রে মন কালী বলে। Ramakrishna is very fond of this song. Why? Doob dao, go deep, go deep. Doob, 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 roop sagare amar mon. Doob, 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 roop sagare amar mon. This is also a very favorite song of Ramakrishna. In the gospel, repeatedly you will get this. But when you go deep, you are confronted with sharks and whales and alligators and crocodiles. What do? You cover yourself with viveka, discrimination, discernment between the real and the unreal, the sat and asat, nitya and anitya, the eternal and the ephemeral. Then you will not be affected by these various kumbhir. So he says, somehow you are caught here and then repeatedly you are getting tainted, polluted, tarnished. This is inevitable. You can't avoid it. Thakur bolchen, তুমি যদি এমন ঘরে থাকো কালিমা লাগবেই। চারিদিকে কয়লা, চারিদিকে ধোয়ার ঘরে থাকলে কালিমা লাগবে। When you are a room full of smoke, the small black particles of carbon and charcoal will definitely descend upon you and then they will cover you. It is inevitable. The world is like that. The world is a place when there is fire and smoke together. This body and this mind are constantly getting polluted by our exchange with this world. So when you are there, the carbon particles in the form of rajas, in the form of various sins will come to you. You have to reckon with them. Therefore he says, once again invoke the grace of the Supreme in the shape of Gayatri, retrieve your divine nature. Gravitational flow of water takes place only to a low ground. Similarly, only a person who is humble, penitent, eager for purity and freedom can receive the divine glory in its unsullied splendor. This is very important. Be humble, be simple, be pure. Penitent means be repentant. Aparadha kshamapana. This is a very important practice in sadhana. So many wonderful hymns and stotras have been written by the acharyas, by avataras and mahapurushas. Aparadha kshamapana stotram, the famous stotra by Shankara. Shantavyo me aparadha Shiva 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 Bho Sri Mahadeva Shambho. He Shambho, Shantavyo me aparadaha. Shantavyo me aparadha prakatitaradane kamarupe karale. O Kali, Kamarupa, O Karali. Shantavyo me aparadha, please forgive my sins. Shama prarthana. So only a person who is humble, penitent, repentant, and with cry in his heart longs for purity. Cry with a real cry. Ramakrishna said, Dakar matan dako. মায়ের কাছে কেঁদে কেঁদে প্রার্থনা করো, মা আমাকে পবিত্রতা দাও, আমাকে শুদ্ধ বুদ্ধি দাও, জ্ঞান ভক্তি দাও. Ramakrishna's famous prayer, which is in the Kathamrita, all of us should memorize and repeat it every day. He teaches M and all the devotees how to pray. This is called Lord's Prayer. In the Bible, there's a Lord's Prayer, which is one of the most important portions of the Bible, Sermon on the Mount. And the Christians, pious Christians, read and pray with the Lord's Prayer every day. All of us also, the followers and devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, should pray with the Lord's Prayer every day. Memorize this. Just a few lines. Ma, ami tomar sharanagata, deha sukha chaina ma, lokamanno chaina, अष्टसिद्धि चाइना केवल एक और जन तोमार श्री पाद पद में शुद्धा भक्ति है निष्काम अमला अहितु की भक्ति आर जैनोमा तोमार भुवन मोहिनी मायाई जन मुग्ध ना हुई तोमार मायार संसारेर कामिनी कांचनेर ऊपर भालोबासा जानो कखनो ना হয় মা তোমা বই আমার আর কেউ নাই আমি জ্ঞানহীন ভক্তিহীন ভজনহীন তোমার শ্রী পাদপদ্মে শুদ্ধা ভক্তি দাও. This is a very wonderful prayer which Ramakrishna has given to us. And M writes, when Ramakrishna was praying in this vein, tears came to the eyes of all those present. It was so touching, so moving. Think of Sri Ramakrishna and Dakshineshwar praying to the mother like this, with tears in his eyes. The sweetest voice which can even melt a stony heart. These are themes for us to meditate upon. Meditate on this scene, Sri Ramakrishna praying. Toma boy amar aar keu nai. I have nobody except you. Penitently, humbly, eagerly, the devotee is praying to the Divine Mother, whose divine glory is there in unsullied splendor. There is no impurity in that splendor and the glory of God. Divya Surya Sahasrasya Bhaved Yugapaduttita. The description in the Bhagavad-Gita, when Arjuna was seeing the Vishwarupa, as if 1,000 suns were simultaneously arising in the sky. What a splendor and tremendous blinding, blasting light it should be. So all impurities are completely destroyed and burnt. Such a soul looks for the divine for all its needs. This is very important. For all our needs, let us go to the divine. Don't go to human beings for solace and consolation. This is one problem with we moderns. Particularly after we have the cell phone, this tendency to call human beings, connect to human beings has increased 1,000 million fold. This is called social connectivity. You connect with everybody, you constantly exchange notes in the name of God. This is the tragedy. I post something which is very divine, and he responds and she responds. Again, I respond. You don't have to give knowledge to the whole world through your Android phone. Lord knows how they will get it. Hundreds of thousands of books are available. We have the divine mantra with us. Immerse in yourself. Don't connect to people unnecessarily. And whole of energy is wasted, spent in social connectivity. This is the tragedy of the modern day. And this lockdown and the pandemic has increased this tendency 1,000,000-fold. It is reported all over the world. People are going mad. They can't stay alone. They feel lonely. And people call each other and said, how do you do? I am feeling lonely. You are feeling lonely. Let us connect to each other and cry together and go down together. The Lord is there waiting for you. You pray to Him, you cry to Him, you call upon Him, you sing His glory, you chant stotras. 24 hours in a day is not sufficient to spend time in singing the glory of God. Why not we do this? So turn to the divine for everything. This is the lesson which is mentioned here. Sri Ramakrishna, Sharada Devi, Swamiji, Maharaj, and all of them, the divine direct disciples and their descendants, whom we are. We are the descendants in that great tradition. Follow this tradition. Pray to Him, cry to Him, call upon Him repeatedly. For everything turn towards Him. If you feel lonely, if you feel upset, if you feel unhappy, don't take up the phone and call anybody. You take up a stotra book and chant. You take up a music book and sing. You take up the japamala and chant. You may say, this is so mechanical and dry. I need the voices of living human beings. We can hear the voice of the Rishi of the Upanishads, the Bhagavan in the Bhagavad-Gita, and the Ramprasad and Kamalakanta in the various songs, and Shankara and Chaitanya and the various stotras. It is possible. You should live with them, live in their company. Imagine they are with you. If you make this a habit, day after day, month after month, year after year, you will feel so sorry that you wasted so much time connecting with human beings. Remember, no human being can exactly understand who and what we are. Nobody. Husband cannot understand the wife totally. The wife cannot understand the husband totally. Husband and wife cannot understand the children completely. Because each human being is unique. He comes with a load of 100,000 samskaras of millions of previous lives. And they are getting manifested in this life. And he is receiving more and more samskaras in this life. How can you fully understand anybody? Don't attempt it. There is only one person who can totally, completely understand you, and He forgives all your foibles and sins. The most compassionate, the most loving, and easily accessible. Assuming that He also has given you up, abandoned you, you have nowhere to go. You must have seen children. When the mother gets sometimes angry with the child and rejects the child or beats the child keeps on crying but will never run away from the child. Again it will catch hold of the mother with tremendous force, more force than before, and start crying. When I see these scenes, I have seen such scenes when I used to see mother and the child relationship, which we miss now in the monastic life. I used to be amazed. I used to tell the children, run away from the mother. Mother is angry now. The child doesn't understand. Once again it clings to the mother, clutches to the mother with more force. Then I realized why. Because the child has nobody else except the mother. Child knows it. Where can the child run away, leaving the mother alone? The child knows I have nobody. This is called Nitya Bhakti, Nitya Yukta. Eka Bhakti. One pointed, eternal, focused devotion to the Lord. There is a great verse in the Bhagavad-Gita about 4 kinds of devotees who call upon the Lord. Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritinor juna arto yajnasurartharthi Jnani cha Bharatarishabha. 4 kinds of people call upon me, the Lord says in the Gita. Artha, one who is afflicted, terribly distressed, full of sorrow. Jigyasu, one who is curious, eager, mumukshu. Artharthi, one who wants to use the Lord for worldly benefits. He wants money, he wants promotion and so on. Jnani, who wants to love the Lord for his own sake. He doesn't want anything from the Lord, he wants the Lord alone. Then the next verse says, among these 4, Jnani is extremely dear to me. Why? Tesham Jnani Nitya Yukta Ekabhaktir Vishishyate. He is very dear to me because he is Nitya Yukta, constantly, eternally connected to me, and Eka Bhaktihi. There is a beautiful phrase in the Bhagavad-Gita which the Bhagavan utters, Eka Bhakti. His bhakti is not divided to many people. Today he calls this human being, tomorrow he calls somebody else. Third day he spends his time trying to get solace from some book or somebody. He turns to the Lord for everything. There Shankaracharya, the great jnani that he was, writes one small line which is so remarkably elevating. How can a jnani be Eka Bhakti? Shankara's Bhashya, commentary, Eka Bhakti Anyasya bhajaniyasya adarsanat Eka Bhakti. Look at this sentence, meditate upon this, think of this. Anyasya bhajaniyasya adarsanat. He does not see anything else which is bhajaniya, worthy of worship. Why is it devoted only to the Lord? Because nothing else attracts him, nothing else he considers as worthy of worship or love. He doesn't want anything else because he doesn't see anything else. Where Advaita, Ekattva Darshana, Ekattva Vijnana is beautifully blended with devotion. One-pointed devotion to God, which the gopis had. Since they had not vision of anything else except the Lord, not considering anything else worthy of devotion, the jnani turns only to the Lord. Anyasya bhajaniyasya darshanat eka bhaktihi. Sri Ramakrishna's Gospel. How many gems are there in the Kathamrita? We will slowly go into them, if the Lord wills, Thakur willing. The story of the Uddhava going and preaching to the Gopikas. The Uddhava goes to the Gopis and gives them advice, Upadesha. He tells the Gopis, you have so much of love, you have extraordinary affection for Sri Krishna, but you should also know that he is not only the Lord who you worship, he is Sarva Bhutanta Bhutatma. He is the indwelling spirit of all the Bhutas or all beings. He is the Antaryami. If you have this kind of insight, this kind of feeling, this kind of knowledge in your mind, then your devotion, your bhakti will be extremely penetrating, will be elevating. Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, you know what the Gopis replied? Gopis said, Uddhava, we thought you are so intelligent, but I see that you are a dull-witted person. You don't understand at all. You are asking us to remember and think with our minds that Sri Krishna is the Sarvabhuta Atma Bhutatma. He is the Antaryami, indwelling spirit of all beings. How can we do that? Because the mind by which we are going to think about Sri Krishna like this, that mind we have surrendered at the feet of Sri Krishna long ago. Je mon ar buddhi diye amra eta bhabbo, সেই মন বুদ্ধিটা শ্রীকৃষ্ণের চরণে কবে আমরা কিন্তু নিবেদন করেছি, আমরা কি করে এটা ভাবতে পারি? Uddhava was completely flabbergasted and confused. See what an elevated consciousness these gopikas had because of their purest devotion, not wanting anything from God, but wanting God alone. This is one thing we should remember and cultivate. There is a huge difference between wanting something from God and wanting only God. If you get God, you get everything because God is giver of everything and possessor of everything. What is that he lacks? Bhakti, Mukti, Vidya, Saraswati, Lakshmi, wealth, Shri, everything you get if you get the Lord Himself. The famous story in the Mahabharata, Sri Krishna was lying down and Duryodhana and Arjuna, both of them went. One was sitting at the feet of Sri Krishna, the other was at the head. When Sri Krishna got up, he saw Arjuna, he saw Duryodhana and asked him, do you want me or do you want my huge Sena, the army? Duryodhana was tempted, oh, such huge army I am going to get. I would rather prefer the army. Arjuna said, oh Lord, who cares for your army? I want you alone. Because if you get the Lord, you get everything. Yavan arthapa udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. The Bhagavad-Gita, Sri Krishna says, if everything is flooded with water, pure drinking water is flooding your whole region, then will you go to a well to get water? Will you dig a well? Water is just coming at your doorstep, the purest of the pure water, because it is flooded. In exactly the same way, if a person realizes the supreme truth, Brahman or God, he doesn't have to go anywhere else for satisfying any of his desires. He becomes apta kama, purna kama, because all his desires are completely fulfilled in the Lord. All desires drop away, get dissolved. When atma kama, desiring only Atman, only the Lord, only God, it becomes apta kama, purna kama. All desires are fulfilled. They become akama, completely free from all desires. Atma kama, apta kama, akama. This is the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I have repeatedly mentioned this, I will continue to mention. These are the phrases which bear repetition. Kamanyat kamayate manyamanaha sa kamabhirjayate tatra tatra paryapta kamasya kritatmanastu ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kama. Mundakopanishad. Kamanya kamayate manyamanaha. A person who has so many desires, full of desires, he goes to those places where he thinks the desires will be fulfilled. Life after life, birth after birth, he will be going through the cycle of birth and death, the various lokas. If a person has all his desires fulfilled in the Atman, in his own inner higher self, ihaiva sarve praviliyanti kamaha. all the kamanas, all the vasanas, all the desires completely got merged and dissolved in himself. So this habit of going to the Lord for every little difficulty is a practice which is the most potent and most powerful spiritual practice in the Kali Yuga, which has been demonstrated by Sri Ramakrishna, Mother, Swamiji, Maharaj and others. Look at Mother's life. For everything she turned to the Lord. Hridaya Ram Mukhopadhyay, Sri Ramakrishna's nephew, became egoistic because Ramakrishna was helplessly dependent upon him. So Mother had come with her mother Shyamsundara Devi. Look at the scene. Imagine Sharada Devi, young woman, wife of Ramakrishna, legally wedded wife who had complete adhikara over Sri Ramakrishna, the right over Sri Ramakrishna, and Shyamsundara Devi, her mother, both of them walking all the way barefooted. They never wore slippers in their lives. The moment they entered Dakshineshwar, Hridayaram, puffed up by pride and egoism, তোমরা কেন এসছো? চলে যাও। কিসের জন্য এসছো? Why have you come here? Go. Unfortunately for Sarada Devi, Sri Ramakrishna did not support Sharada. He could have said, hey Hriday, why are you doing this? Let them come. Or he could have said to Sharada separately, oh Hriday is like that, don't mind, please stay on. He did not say anything. He simply kept quiet. This is a very strange thing. Avatara Leela is most difficult to understand. These are all small instances which have been given in the lives of the avataras so that we can learn our lessons. Unfortunately, we don't. In any trouble, we blame others. We turn to human beings, we turn to other things and not the Lord Himself. What was Mother's reaction? Meditate upon this. Think about this repeatedly. Transform our lives thinking about this one incident. She was not angry with Hridayaram. She was not piqued and unhappy with her husband, Sri Ramakrishna. She straight went to Bhavatarini Mandir, to Kali, and said, Ma, Jagadamba, the Divine Mother, whenever you will call me again, I shall come. Quietly came away. Think of this one incident. Make this incident a great lesson for your life. All of us, including me, we should meditate and make this a living example in our lives. We justify. We read this, oh, that was possible for Mother, we can't do it. This is a natural that we turn to people. No, we have become spiritual aspirants and sadhakas to be supernatural and not simply natural. We want to conquer our nature and go beyond, as Swami Vivekananda said. Conquest of nature is our ideal and goal. Swami Gambhirananda Ji, that wonderful piece of writing, Srima Sarada Devi, mellifluous, beautiful language. He says, Shotilokhi Sharada Mayer, Shotilokhi Sharadar, হৃদয়রামের প্রতি বিন্দুমাত্র কোনো ক্ষোভ আর রাগ ছিল না। নিজের স্বামীর ঠাকুরের প্রতি তার কোনো অভিমান ছিল না। তার মান, অভিমান, ক্রোধ, রাগ সমস্ত জগদম্বার চরণে নিবেদনপূর্বক তিনি বলিলেন, মা, আবার যখন আমাকে তুমি আনবে তখন আমি আসব। Look at this sentence. I'm not quoting exactly from memory, I'm quoting. I read and reread and memorized this. Have no pick, no ill feeling or anger towards anybody. It is not he or she who is giving you this. It is but the divine will that is happening because of your karma. It's my karma which brings it. Nobody else is to blame. Swamiji therefore write a beautiful poem. No one but me to blame. My karma has brought it. Swami Saradeshanandaji, illustrious saintly disciple of Mother Sharada, has written the reminiscences of Holy Mother. Sri Sri Mayar Smriti Katha. This has to be read by every one of us thoroughly. Their mother's teaching, which is repeatedly mentioned, is Dekho tomar ja ghodbe bhalo mando tar jonno tomar karma phol dayi. Kono বাহ্য বস্তুকে মানুষকে ঘটনাকে কখনো কিন্তু দোষারোপ করবে না. Never find fault with any person or anything, any circumstance for whatever experiences, good or bad, that you may feel in life, you may experience in life. Only your karma is responsible. Your karma is responsible for all the experiences that you get and no one else. Once we realize this, our life will be full of joy. Turn to the Lord, pray to Him. So he says here, such an aspiring soul looks to the divine for all his needs and explains, Thou art my strength, Thou art my power, Thou art my glory, Thou art my all in all. So here Gayatri is conceived as a non-different from Brahman, Brahma Shakti Abhed, and is eulogized as the various excellences and attributes listed above. Gayatri is the same as Saraswati and Savitri. The Supreme Being as the indweller and the impeller of all creation is known as Savitra. Savitra is Surya, and Savitra also means that which is the indwelling principle and the impeller of creation. Is also symbolized by Savitri or Savitra. Savitra, from there comes Savitri. So the passage in praise of the Savitra is called Savitri. The Shai Pratyaya, which means relating to Savitra. Because as Strilinga, you have Sriyam Ngeep. Savitri is the same as Saraswati. The Vedas represented as a lake or Saras, which gives waters of life. Hence Gayatri, as the essence of the Vedas, is called Saraswati. Saras is a huge lake. We call it Sarovara, Sarasa. So from Saras comes Saraswati, is a huge ocean or a lake, and the waters of life, divine life, is obtained in this lake, and therefore Gayatri is also Savitri, and Gayatri and Savitri are also called Saraswati. And these two terms magnify Gayatri as the object of worship. So Gayatri Avahayami, Savitri Avahayami, Saraswati Avahayami. These are the mantras which are used in the Avahana of the Gayatri. So we will take the Gayatri, much more is to be discussed about the Gayatri. Shvandha Gayatri te loy hoy. So this we will go on discussing. We have discussed given some idea of the Sandhya. Then we should give elaborate idea what Gayatri means, what is the significance of the chanting of the Gayatri Mantra, how it can awaken in us the higher consciousness in order that we may intuit Brahman and become Jnanis and Bhaktas, which are the same. The Dhiyo yo naf prachodayat. There are plenty of things more to be discussed. We will, by the grace of Gayatri, with the Savitri and Saraswati, may the divine wisdom dawn in us to be able to understand the magnitude, the glory and the power of Gayatri. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampa Dhrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.